All right, if you're one of the tens of millions of Americans who rely on Social Security, you're gonna want to listen up. Some of the biggest changes we've seen in years are hitting in 2026, and they're gonna have a direct impact on your money. So let's get right into it.
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Will you end up with more money in your pocket or less? Well, the truth is, the changes coming down the pike are a mixed bag. There's some genuinely good news, but also some tough new realities we all have to face. Today, we're going to break it all down so you know exactly what's coming.
And we're not going to overwhelm you. We've distilled it all down to the 7 absolute must-know updates. We're talking about everything from your monthly benefit check to the taxes you pay and even how we define retirement itself.
Okay, let's kick things off with the good stuff. There are a couple of major changes that could very well mean more money for you, and one of them is an absolutely massive win for millions of public servants.
First up, the annual cost of living adjustment. You know it is COLA. For 2026, the projection is 2.8%. Now, I know what you're thinking. That seems kind of small compared to the huge inflation-fueled spikes we saw back in 22 and 23, right? And you're not wrong. But for the average retiree, that 2.8% boost still works out to about an extra $55 a month.
But here's where it gets tricky. That $55, well, don't get too attached to all of it. A big bite gets taken out of it right away. Why? Because Medicare Part B premiums are set to jump by over 11%. For the average person, that's going to eat up about $21.50 of that gain. So your net increase is, well, quite a bit smaller.
But it's not all give and take. There's another huge piece of good news here, especially if you've ever been a public servant, a teacher, a firefighter, a police officer. For decades, these two really controversial rules, the WEP and the GPO, have basically slashed the Social Security benefits for people who also earned a public pension.
Well, get this. Thanks to the new Social Security Fairness Act, those two rules, they're gone. Poof. Repealed. I mean, this is absolutely huge. For the first time ever, more than 3 million public sector retirees are going to get their full unreduced Social Security benefit. That is a life-changing income bump for so many people. All right, so that covers the direct boosts. Now we need to pivot and talk about some of the bigger structural shifts in the system. And this is where things get a little more complex, especially for anyone who hasn't retired yet.
You know, what's really interesting here is that this isn't some sudden change. This has been on the books for decades. Way back in 1983, Congress decided to gradually raise the retirement age. And in 2026, we hit the final milestone. The full retirement age, or FRA, officially becomes 67 for anyone born in 1960 or later.
So, what's the bottom line for you? It means the penalty for grabbing your benefits early just got a lot steeper. If you decide to claim as early as you can at age 62, your benefit is cut, permanently, by a whopping 30%. Yeah, 30. That's a huge number you have to plan around.
Okay, this next one is for the higher earners out there. The maximum amount of income you pay Social Security taxes on is going up again. In 2026, that cap is rising to $184,500. That means if you're earning at or above that level, you could be paying over $500 more in Social Security taxes next year. But on the flip side, if you plan to keep working after you start collecting benefits, there is a little bit of good news. The earnings limits are being raised. If you're under your full retirement age, you'll be able to earn up to $24,480 before they start reducing your benefit check. It just gives you a little more wiggle room to earn some extra cash without getting penalized. Okay, deep breath. We've talked about the tweaks and adjustments, but now we have to tackle the elephant in the room. The big one, the long-term health of the entire Social Security system. This is the issue that hangs over everything else. So here's the headline you always hear, right from the Social Security Administration itself. The trust funds are on track to be depleted by 2034. Now, when you hear a word like depleted, it's easy to panic, right? But hold on. It does not mean the money is all gone. It means something else entirely. And this chart shows you exactly what it means. Even after 2034, if Congress does absolutely nothing, the money coming in every year from payroll taxes will still be enough to cover about 80% of all the promised benefits. The problem is that other 20%. That's the shortfall. And if nothing is done, that means, bam, an automatic 20% benefit cut for everyone, across the board. Now the good news, and there is good news, is that Congress is well aware of this deadline. They're not ignoring it. And there are a ton of different ways to fix it on the table. They could raise taxes a bit, change how benefits are calculated, or even nudge the retirement age up again. The point is, there are solutions. The political will to act is what we're waiting on. Okay, so we've talked about the good, the bad, and the long-term ugly. It's a lot to take in, and you might be feeling a little powerless, but you're not. Let's shift gears and talk about 5 real concrete things you can do right now to take control. Here's your checklist. Number 1, and please do this. Go to the Social Security website and check your earnings record for mistakes. They happen. 2, since the full retirement age is now 67, it's the perfect time to stress test your claiming strategy. 3, budget for those higher Medicare premiums now, so they're not a surprise later. 4, really think about whether working even one more year could significantly boost your long-term benefits. And finally, number 5, take all these 2026 numbers we've talked about and update your entire retirement plan.
Look, we can manage these yearly adjustments, we can plan for them, but as this quote makes crystal clear, the real story, the big conversation, is about that 2034 deadline. It is the challenge that Congress simply has to solve, and the clock is ticking.
And really, it all boils down to this one big question. The system is changing, it is adapting, but is it happening fast enough to make sure that foundation of retirement is secure for our kids and our grandkids? That is the challenge ahead of us, and honestly, it's a conversation that involves every single one of us.